In today's episode, I speak to Petrus Bredell. Petrus is one of the co-founders of Plato Coffee. You would have probably seen them all around South Africa. They are really taking the country by storm. It's been 4 years since they started the company, and they are currently sitting at 57 stores and planning to do 80 by the end of the year. In this interview, we go into how they founded the company, how they decided on what was going to be the differentiator between them and all their competitors, how they were able to grow at the fast pace that they did, how they train and employ new staff, how they are able to manage quality between different stores, how they were able to expand at such a rapid pace, and a lot more. This podcast is also sponsored by our own company, Big Pond Flipping Mastery. This is a course that we have created to teach people who want to flip properties in South Africa, to equip them to be able to do what we do. We have set out the course that explains everything from sourcing properties to buying them, renovating them and selling them off again. You can go to our website, Big Pond Property, and follow the link to courses to be able to purchase this course as well. Enjoy the show. Petrus Bredell, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for coming through. I really look up to you as a businessman. You have built something really impressive together with your brother. Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
I want to find out a little bit more about your business and your life today. I think a lot of people will be able to learn a lot from your story. And I want to start by just going through the timeline a bit, because I assume this has been a crazy 4 years for you, the past 4 years. You started Plato Coffee Shop. If you don't know Petrus, he's from Plato. And you started your first shop in 2020, right?
December 2019.
2019,
Yeah.
just
Well,
before the
December,
pandemic.
Yeah, basically 2020. But our anniversary is December, yeah.
Okay, so that's when we'll celebrate.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a vicious timeline, and I don't know how you guys did it. At how many shops do you have open currently?
Currently 59 stores countrywide. So
59, and your aim for the end of the year?
roughly 80. So,
80. That is an insane schedule. I mean, I don't know of any other business that grows this fast. How were you able to put together this machine that you are able to constantly open shops while running the shops that are really already open?
Yeah. Thanks, LaRue. Thanks for having me. Just listening to you speak kind of reflects all this. It's a short timeline.
Yeah.
And it's been absolutely chaotic. But if you think about what we've been able to do, it's really been about the people, about the team that we've created. Just prior to starting this recording, we spoke about a different guy, and we spoke about the team he's got around him. And I really think, without the insane group of people we've got on board, me and Stefan, we just the guys that gets ideas and say, okay, this is what we want to do. This is the fingerprint we want to leave on a company. But then you get the people that, that create the culture, that create the vibe, that kind of get you going. There's no way that just the two of us can open this insane amount of stores, build a factory, come up with new ideas without an entire team behind us. So I think really it's been about the people. It's been about the baristas, it's been about the managers, and we've just been leading them. So, yeah.
Okay, so when hearing that, you must have a very intricate system when employing people. How do you find that team to put them in place?
At the beginning, we really just said, me and Stefan, we didn't study coffee. We're not, literature, if you call it that.
Yeah.
We just said we wanted people that we believe in, because we always just wanted people to believe in us. We just said, okay, just give us a chance. We'll show you. We can build something. while looking for funding. It was very unsecured, but the people just believed in us. So the same doing interviews from the beginning. We just said, okay, we want people that can sit across the table and have a conversation with. Be engaging, be optimistic, be bold, in a sense, and just, finding that people you can trust. Trust was always been the kind of thing that I looked into a person. So at the very beginning, it was just me interviewing people, finding kind of the right personalities, thinking, okay, they can fit into what we want to do. And I think like two of our first 3 employees are still with us. So it's been kind of the right people to find. And then as we grew and as we looked for higher position to people, it was also sometimes we would find a person. One of our very first managers I found in a closing cafe. We went there and me and Stefan said, okay, let's see if we can maybe buy some old equipment. It was a very niche cafe in Joburg, and when I got there I saw these 2 guys behind the bar and I thought, flip, they fit our, what we want to create in a cafe. They fit that. And I asked the owner of the shop, can I go behind the bar and chat to them? I actually asked him, listen, can I give them a job? And they were like, yeah, we're closing this cafe, we don't care, let them go. I went behind the bar and they were 2 brothers actually. So we immediately told them, listen, we're starting this company. We want your kind of personality. Would you like to relocate to Rustenburg? That was our first kind of where we needed a manager. So yeah, they came on board, and then franchise managers. So the coffee industry is very small in a sense. And we really just, as we went along, we saw people that we knew was in the industry, looking for jobs. The pandemic hit, so there was a bunch of guys that kind of what they wanted to start didn't work out, so we helped them out, pulled them across the board, used their equipment, and they just kind of grew and it just fell into place. So it's not a very strict rule, sitting with a psychologist and going through 10 interviews. We sit across the table and we go, listen, where are you at life? What do you want to do? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Kind of just, and are you a lacquer oak? Can we work with you?
Yeah.
And for most people in life, you can sit 5 minutes across the table and see, can I work with this guy? Can I trust him? And does he believe in what we want to do? And most people just said, yes, we believe in what you want to do. And they jumped on board. Also just trusting me and Stefan. And we've built just an amazing team around it.
I assume getting people now is a lot less difficult as it was because you've proven the concept.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tremendously successful. I think like if we say a kilometer radius, there's like 6 shops.
Yeah, I think roughly 1, 2, 3. I think the other 2 might be outside a kilometer, but roughly.
Yes, I mean, this place is just saturated with your coffee shops.
Yes.
And how did you find it possible to do that with the large international competitors? I mean, we have Seattle Coffee down the road. At Menlyn Main, there's a Starbucks. And it just looked like you were able to wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, at the very beginning, we were very scared of competition. We said, let's see what we want to create around Plato. What vibe do we want to build around the shop? So yes, we opened in Irene, but it was a container. It was in a cemetery. It was in a neighborhood. Although it worked, it wasn't like as practical as one might hope. So our first proper shop was in Rustenburg. Now Rustenburg was like a test module. We come from Rustenburg. We grew up there, so we knew there were no competition. There's not a Starbucks to compete with. There's not a Seattle to compete with. Not a Vida, not a Bootleg, nothing. There's a restaurant, a Spur, and
that's the only place you can get coffee takeaways.
There's some restaurants that serves coffee, but there's no coffee experience takeaway in Rustenburg. And then we just said, okay, let's open the shop, let's launch the shop and see where it goes. And we just realized, okay, the feedback's great, the coffee quality is great. Let's test Pretoria. Again, we try to do not the same as anyone else. We opened the store on the street of Atterbury. It's like a street cafe. Nobody has really done it. Next to a road, busy road. We initially just thought, okay, this can be just a billboard for us. It really doesn't have to make money. We just want people to drive, thousands and thousands and thousands of people to drive past and go, unconsciously recognize Plato Coffee. And then, the feedback was amazing. From the beginning, we said, okay, and then load shedding came, the massive problem. We just said, we will have power. And most cafes didn't have power.
Yeah, they just shut down. They closed down for the 2 or 3 hours.
So a very well-known brand was a kilometer away from our Atterbury store, and they were just closed for 2, 4, some days 6 hours a week or a day. And so they had massive clients, and we were open. So the clients just realized, okay, there's coffee. I don't care if it's good or bad. There's coffee down the road. And then the coffee was good, maybe even better. And then they start sticking around. Our personalities behind the bar were like drawing people. So all of a sudden we started competing with the bigger brands, and then we just kind of felt, okay, we can do this. We can compete with the bigger brands. And I don't, as I said at the very beginning, we didn't think we could compete with them. But then we said, okay, but our entire idea behind the brand was we wanted to be 1% better than the big brands in every way. Now, if we take almost any business, if I take your business and I tell you, Leroux, if I do everything that you do 1% better, will I be successful? What will the answer be?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably yes.
Yeah.
So we just said we want to take the biggest brand in South Africa that we thought is the best, and we want to be, our coffee should be 5% better. Not a lot, but the coffee 5% better. Branding 5% better. Music 5% better. Personalities 5% better. Like if you take an entire cafe, there's 100 stuff. If you can be 1 to 5% better in all of those aspects, you are going to be successful competing with the big oaks. So in Pretoria, we saw that. We saw, okay, obviously it's subjective.
Yeah, and it's
very
very difficult to measure as well.
Yes,
because I mean, someone can look at the aesthetics of your shop.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's impressed with it, but some people don't like it.
It's too cold.
Yes.
And it's too white. So from our point of view, we said, okay, we feel like it's a bit more aesthetic.
And it's different.
And it's different.
It's really different to the others that are available.
Yeah, we are being copied now left and right. There's cafes popping up, same colors, same menu, same extraction times, same recipes, everything.
Do you take it as flattery?
Yes and no. It's kind of irritating.
It's a bit irritating, I agree.
It's like, come on, just be creative. We also just saw that copying someone doesn't work. So it's irritating at the beginning, but I think there's like 3 cafes that opened, look like a Plato. If you show it to someone else, they think, oh, you opened a Plato in Langebaan. Then no.
We didn't.
Then 8 months later, they closed down. So lesson to anyone, if you want to start a business, do it great and follow business strategies. Look at the big companies, look at what they do. But your brand identity shouldn't be the same.
Yeah, because I think what happens as well is that coffee shop is then, it's marketing for Plato because people think it's a Plato.
People think it's a Plato.
We've had a lot of that where people copy our house design and we get exactly the same thing. They tell us, you did this house in this street. And we say, no, we didn't. But we got the marketing of someone else copying our style.
Definitely. And again, like, it's fine. Copy what you do. There's a lot of developers out there. But just go and put your own identity on it. Go on Pinterest and see what you actually like. Don't just go, let's look at what Leroux is doing and copy that.
You know what a good example of this is like cover bands. Cover bands never make it big because they're waiting for someone else to release the big hit so that they can cover it. And it's maybe a nice way into the industry, but you're not going to build longevity or a good brand from that.
No, and a lot of those singers actually sing better.
Yeah, but they're not creative.
They're not creative.
Yeah.
And that's been a big thing for, again, it's very subjective, but we said we wanted to do something that's a little bit different. And that we liked. So me and Stefan, we sent mood boards and this design. Then he comes up with an idea, and then I come up with it. And like we kind of just brainstorm between the two of us all the time, and we bounce it off our family. We've got a very creative family, and they will say yes to this, and this looks a little bit weird. And I've got a small. I put it together, but it's like our first 20 logos. That we
first 20. Yes, like it.
Well, more like ideas. Like we would do this, and Stefan would design something, and then we say, yeah, okay, no, this is good. And then we look at something else, like, yeah, okay, this is better. And then finally, we actually just said, okay, we want kind of this, but we want to modernize it. And we sent it to a designer, and she put it together for us, and we went like, wow, okay, this is it. This is what we're gonna do. It's like, it looks like. It still gives the old Plato vibe, but it looks like modernized. Comb back hair, and beard, and if you put glasses on there, it's gonna look very hip. Finally our very first branded stuff all had like previous logos on. It's all, we got rid of it now, but so we didn't start off with this specific Plato phase. And these cups are this is the secondary designs. We are now, again, rebranding, because as people copy you, what do you want to do? You just want to stay ahead.
Yeah.
So it's fine, copy us, but we are already busy with new concepts. We are already 6 months ahead or a year ahead.
Yeah.
We are already looking at what people are going to want in a year's time. So it's fine, go ahead and copy a brand, but just think of, as soon as the coffee industry it feels like the world is moving so fast. Any industry that you kind of copy, if you're just copying, you're actually 6 months behind.
All the time. You're not innovating at all.
In music, in design, in architecture, in building, whatever. If you're just copying someone, that company is already thinking, okay, what is our next big idea? Where are we going to change? We are rebranding again. We're 4 years old. We've rebranded 2 times.
Yeah.
Like, we are just going to want to redesign, redevelop.
Yeah.
We're changing our bar every shop by shop. We're trying to do it better and better and better and bigger and more efficient and more pretty. So make it better looking, make it more practical. So if you go look at our first Rustenburg shop, if you copy that thing, you're 4 years behind. You can't.
Yeah, of course.
So it's been a constant learning and progressing and changing and evolution and sending ideas. And as I said, we are able to dream because we've got a massive team behind us, and that makes it worth it. If you are stuck in operations as an owner or as an entrepreneur or as a CEO or whatever you call yourself, if you're stuck in the day-to-day, like operating, you won't be able to grow.
Of course, yeah.
And I see it with a lot of small guys that they can't afford a manager. We couldn't afford a manager because it was either manager or me for salary. And we just said, okay, no, it's fine. We get a manager so that I can grow the company.
It frees you up to work on the business, not in the business.
Yeah, so if I was in the business for the first 3 years, there was no way we would have been able to open another shop, because I was a guy driving around looking for new shops, chatting to landlords, seeing who's interested in the brand, and then I didn't get a salary, but it's fine. I knew, listen, if
you're growing something bigger.
If I get salary, I'm going to get stuck in operations and I'm going to get stuck. So, it was just great to get people on board, let them manage, give them the freedom to manage, give them the trust to manage. And it's been just constant evolving, constant changing. Again, we're changing this year so much to the brand.
I have to say it was very impressive when we worked together with you to build the coffee shop here at Big X. Everything was very streamlined, and you had a bunch of items that had to go into the shop that you guys actually designed that works better than whatever is available out there. Like the specific dustbin, the drying rack, the placement of all the items. When we said we're going to do a coffee shop, I thought, you need a coffee machine and a grinder. I mean, but
barista,
you guys,
that's it.
you guys came very precise. No, this is the line at which it works. You have to order here. It goes through the process. The coffee machine, the cups are there. Everything flows really well. And I assume that you take this blueprint to every shop, so that the consistency is there, the same speed is there. And I have to say, your baristas, they are so charismatic and so charming. Is that something that you look for in interviewing, or is it something that you teach them? Because you do training with them as well. But I can't assume that you teach those people those skills.
Yeah, again, from the beginning, we said you can teach any person how to make coffee. So take a great personality, teach them how to make coffee. Because coffee, I give you 2 weeks and you can do coffee. 2 weeks with me next to a machine, I teach you how to make coffee. So a great personality, teach them how to make coffee. A crappy personality that can make great coffee, you will never be able to change their attitude. That's just it. You can't. A person's, yes, sometimes they change, and normally it only happens after a big life event or a failure or something. Then someone's personality drastically changes. But the common person after 25, you're set in your ways. You're set in your personality. If you're a grumpy person, your school pals will probably tell you, yeah, you've always been a grumpy person. And when you're 50, you're probably going to be a grumpy person. A happy person goes through life happy. It's just what it is. So in Cape Town, my younger brother operates a few stores and he's part of the company there. And I think like out of the 15 people that works directly under him, 2 have been in coffee prior to. So he follows that. He knows, listen, we don't care if you're a waiter, if you're a cashier, if you're a plumber. We really don't care what you've been prior to coffee, because we will teach you how to make coffee.
You're just looking at personality, attitude.
We're just looking at personality. And also, we do coffee very differently to all the big brands. Our recipes are different. The way we prepare the puck is different. The way we grind, the way we time, everything we do is different. So if you get a big brand barista in and you try to teach them the Plato way, they're still so stuck in what they used to do at the previous company. We actually don't want that.
Yeah, and they probably think they know better.
Exactly, because they've got now 10 years in coffee experience. We bumped heads with a few big brands that accused us of, stealing baristas. And we're like, yeah, sometimes they do come, but they send their CVs, and yes, some people come work for us, but we actually don't want your baristas. Not to be ugly about it, but it's just, if I have to choose between a barista in a big brand that has been in that brand for 10 years versus a guy that has got a nice personality and has never been in coffee, I'm choosing the never been coffee guy, because I can teach them how to do it my way, or the Plato way, So it's again just we stuck to what we wanted to do, and we've created this whole training team that can give them training on our way of doing things.
What would you say is the biggest differentiator that you guys have? I mean, there are a lot. I think consistency between shops is something tremendous that I haven't found at another coffee shop, because like you say, the barista does something different. He adds something that he was taught by the company, and that makes it different, and then it's different between all the shops. I know you have a lot of technology in place, like the grinders, the presses, everything is set up, standardized across South Africa. Yeah,
it's set up for success. So again, I can take you behind the bar. The difficult thing is steaming milk, because that is not, we can't, there is machines that can do it, but we're just like, it's too slow. You want like fast production of milk especially, but we've set it up in such a way that, it's so automated, but so interactive. We did try an extremely expensive machine that's very successful in the US. One of the biggest growing companies currently in the US are using these automated machines, but we just felt, okay, the South African market still wants a person making everything. But actually that person making everything's automated for him. He's just got to put the puck in.
It's just following the steps.
Just weigh the thing, time the thing. We've actually got technology that times our stuff, that records the recipe of the shot and gives us feedback on the back end. So our QC guys are on that thing, literally in our factory, sitting, going through, okay, what is the shop's quality score for the day? And as you said, the one thing that yes, again, we can look at 100 things we're doing differently, but the one thing, me and Stefan, we wanted to grow the brand, or I kind of wanted to go more organically because it's more controllable. And he said, no, let's franchise, let's club this thing. And I also said, no, we're not ready. We're not there yet, we're not ready. And then we found a way to measure quality from anywhere in the country on a computer. And then I said, okay, now we can go. Because now you said exactly with that thing, like, I got my coffee this morning. I'm like, flip, it tastes exactly where I drink it every day, and it's so a great feeling. I traveled with our factory team in Cape Town. We went to every shop in the Cape, and although there's slight differences, there will always be for a fine taster like us. It's mostly because of water or whatever. But you walk in there and you're like, oh, this tastes like Plato. You go in every shop. And also the way we do that is we roast our own coffee, and we obviously the franchisees has to buy from us. But in that way, a lot of big brands, they over the factory or the franchisor overcharges for beans, and they really like push their franchisees hard. So the franchisee starts to go to other places to source cheaper stuff.
To just become more profitable while trying.
But we are the cheapest. Like you can't get coffee anywhere else for cheaper than you buy it from us. Like if you do, it's going to be way less quality. So we work really hard on costing on the back end as well. So our chocolate is the cheapest base you can find. Our coffee, the cheapest base you can find. So anything we kind of work on, we try and make sure that the franchisee, the barista is set up for success. They can't kind of go and cheat the system, because immediately people is going to realize like the quality is gone. Because as I said, you can buy coffee at a cheaper rate, but it's going to be horrible. We just try to set up that consistency right across the board to make sure that everything, whether it's a franchise, a corporate store, or whatever we do, that's kind of it's almost fail proof. And if we get a complaint, we literally go on the back office and say, baristas didn't pay attention in this period. They didn't set the grinder. They didn't change this. They just didn't look. Then
you can at least see where the problem is.
And we can pinpoint the shift. So the baristas are kept on their toes. And the lucky thing is most franchisees, they play like a competition between their shifts. They're like, okay, you guys are doing better, and this one is doing better. So all of a sudden you create this healthy competition between your two shifts to see who does the best. And we are rewarding we've got a quality score, and we are rewarding the franchisees with a score that's above a certain percentage. Just to give them the initiative to go, okay, listen, if we achieve this quality score, we get our subscription for free. So, it kind of
incentivizes
them to make good coffee. And that, again, like across the board, you get the same product, with the same technology, with the same. And that's why you can go to Nelspruit, have a Plato, fly down to Sea Point, have a Plato, and it will taste 5 or maximum 10% apart. We just push hard on that.
It's really impressive what you've done. What about working with third-party suppliers like your milk supplier? How do you ensure that the quality of the milk is the same and consistent?
That is the most difficult part in South Africa, because you don't have a milk supplier right across the board. You kind of have to find the best, cheapest. Like there's a middle ground. You can't go very cheap, because then it's bad quality milk. You can't go super expensive, then it's just doesn't make sense. So every area we go to, our franchise training team or whoever trains that shop goes and says, okay, well, even like 5 weeks or a month before we launch, we start putting out
a supplier list.
Supply list.
Yes.
And then we kind of source, okay, from in the Western Cape or in the Cape Town region, we are using this supplier. Okay, that's set for this region. Okay, Gauteng, what are we using? We are using this set supplier for Gauteng. Some shops do prefer a better milk, but then they pay more, and then we can't really say no, because it is a better quality milk, but it's on them because their GP is going to drop 2 to 3%. But this is the lowest, or this is the standard. You can go and buy a Jersey milk or a Ayrshire milk. It's fine, but it's going to cost you. So you can't go lower than what we set for you. This is your
and you
set.
can't just lift the price of the coffee.
No, because it's a national price.
Yes, you wanna keep it consistent.
Yeah. So we control obviously the back end of the point of sale. A franchisee or a shop owner can't go in the back office and change the prices. We do it from one single point. So third party stuff, and then the baking side is also very difficult because the croissants we get in Pretoria is next level, but the croissants we get in Nelspruit is not that great. So we try and stick to the pastries. We've got one cookie supplier across the country, and we are now busy looking at doing it in-house. So to proof your pastries and then freeze it and then send it across the country, and then they can bake in-house 2 to 3 minutes in a air fryer or a oven, and then you can create that consistency right across the country. But that's a massive project, and we are now from Monday tackling that, and it's probably going to take a year to 2 years.
It's basically a whole new business.
It's all new business we're taking over. So from the baking side to freezing it, getting it to the shops, then baking it. So yeah, we'll start off in Gauteng, or even just in Pretoria, because that's the closest stores. Then rolling it out to Gauteng. If it works, the concept, then we roll it out to closer regions like Secunda, Rustenburg, Middelburg. And proof of concept work, you can just send it out. Luckily, the pastries pricing you can change. So let's say we bake pastries in Pretoria, and we can, get the proof right. We can go set up a small pastry production kitchen in Cape Town, and we can supply to Cape Town. Maybe it's more expensive then, but then again, you can ask Cape Town prices.
Of course, yeah.
Like a croissant in Cape Town costs R5 more than a croissant in Pretoria.
Yeah.
So that on that side you can play around. You don't have to have the same cost price right across the board. So other than milk and pastries, we run everything through our company, through our factory.
You're able to control all of that.
Able to control all of that. There's some, again, we put out a set supply list, and then if we can give you something better at a lower price, you have to buy it through us. And also, it makes sense to buy it through us. Yeah. So like the branded cups, you can't get this cheaper anywhere else but us. And now we're embossing the lids.
The lids as well.
And then again, you're like, okay, but you can get it cheaper because we're bringing it from China. So all of those things, the focus for us, yes, we want to make money, but it's to keep the shops healthy. If their GP drops, they're going backwards. And if they go backwards, the whole factory goes backwards.
Of course.
And then the factory is like currently the heart of the company. We are the guys that keep the supply going, that pays the bills and keeps everything running. So if the cafes aren't healthy, then the whole company can't work. So we do a hell of a lot of work to make sure that all the products that Plato buys from the factory is well priced, as low as possible. Literally, we push prices 15-20% lower than most guys out there. And we can go the different route, but then we're just a money-sucking machine.
Yeah.
We're going to sit in 5 years' time with a lot of money, but then the shops are just going to start falling apart because it won't be able to be sustained anymore. Yes, a person is maybe going to make a little bit money here and break even there, but if you run a cafe for 5 years and you're just breaking even, you're going to go, nah, I'm going to move on. So we don't want to go that way. We just want to go, let's keep Plato as healthy as possible. Even our current GP runs between 53 and 55%. Like my goal is to get that above 60. So water, we're starting our own water, letting Plato buy it for R2 cheaper than from the current suppliers, and then making an extra R2 per bottle of water.
Of course.
So
just bring everything in-house.
Just bring everything in-house, but not sucking them dry.
Of
because
course.
if you go that route, you're just gonna...
Of course.
You're gonna screw everyone over. So we don't want to do that.
It's very impressive to me. I want to find out what is the driving force specifically for you, because a lot of the time what happens with small business owners, small entrepreneurs, let's say for instance you were very passionate about making coffee, and in the span of 4 years I can say with quite certainty you don't make coffee. You're running a business, and you're running all the intricacies of growth, of business, of development, of R&D, all of these other aspects. Normally you have a photographer and he's starting a business because he likes taking pictures. Then later you're the financial guy, you're the advertising guy, you're the CEO, you're doing everything, you're not taking pictures anymore. So you have to create a different driving force. What is your driving force? What are you pushing for?
Yeah, so the nice thing about Plato specifically, me and Stefan, we were never coffee oaks. We loved drinking coffee. We drank a lot of coffee. But we weren't coffee people. We've never worked in coffee prior to starting Plato. Stefan saw a gap in the market, pitched it to me. I'm like, yep, this could work. Let's do it. So I developed a massive passion for coffee because I worked behind the bar quite a lot at the beginning. And that passion, what is nice about it is now we've got a factory. I still make for myself a coffee every morning on a machine, but like the perfect coffee every morning. Weigh it out. We've got a little distributor. we've got everything there. And we drink a lot of well-processed, amazing coffees from Colombia or Kenya or wherever, and we make that over a pour-over. And we would just like geek out about this kind of little black, beautiful cup of coffee. So that passion kind of still, I think, keeps everyone going. Like guys like John that's roasting for us, now he's a brilliant roaster, probably one of the best in the country. But his passion is not just standing in front of a roaster all the time. So you have to kind of keep that alive for them as well. Give them stuff to play with. Let them go on competitions. Like try and keep their passion alive. But on our side, Stefan is not a coffee passionate person. He's marketing, like that drives him, creating new ideas, building new businesses, starting with new stuff. And then we put people in place to kind of drive that. So from a passion point of view, yes, I love now coffee. I've got a huge passion for it, but I've got a bigger passion for people and processes and building stuff. So it's not difficult. If I see a person coming inside a company and they grow, that's for me. That's what's keeping me driving. To build a new company, to employ people, to make sure they succeed. So all this new stuff, I'm like, I actually struggle with that very mekaar spul at the beginning. It's difficult. You kind of, I love planting a company and then putting people in place, and then to see them succeed is what drives me. I love it. And then Stefan on the other hand, he's got different stuff that drives him. He loves the big ideas and the running of stuff. So I think not just in coffee, we are running a big business, but we've got financial guys, we've got marketing guys, so we can do what we love.
That is a good way to set it up. How do you find it working with family?
Can I cry on this podcast?
I'm in the same situation.
Yeah, like it's been the most toughest and sometimes most rewarding time, because you've got a brother, you fight with your brother, you do it, and but you don't want to fight more often than you
would have.
You don't want to have more bad times than you have good times.
Yes.
And sometimes in a business, there's more like fist fighting.
Yeah, and a lot more pressure.
Yeah, a lot more pressure. So Yeah, so we are 3 brothers on board, and we fight a lot, but we've got great times as well. So it is very difficult. It's even more difficult for me now. I sit in Gauteng and operate. We've got everyone around us, and then my 2 brothers sit in George and Cape Town. So in that way, I'm like, I miss them. It's much better for me to sit around a table discussing ideas than being on a WhatsApp, and then this one doesn't respond, and then you don't get all of this one, and you like driven for stuff, and then you get kind of mad because you need stuff done, and then your brother doesn't respond to you. Like, come on, bro. So it's your brother. Where a business person, you kind of have respect for, and I do have respect for my brothers, but it's very difficult to work with.
You have other history. You have your whole lives
together. You've got the previous 28 years, 30 years, and then you've got the following 30 and 40 years. And for me, honestly, I would rather lose a business than lose a brother.
Let's think about this. If you, let's for instance say you didn't have this 2 brothers of yours as your partners, and you think about the arguments that you have had, those arguments you would have had with external people, would you have probably closed the business down at some stage if they weren't family and if you weren't able to work through these things?
Yeah, it's a very difficult question. I think at the beginning, it's like, I think a lot of business owners would say, this is not working, let's scan it.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, listen, I've got no job. Stefan wants to get out of corporate. He's got debt, and we're like, no, we're going to make this work. It's fine. If this thing fails, it's fine. Then we fail together. That was kind of the nice thing about it. He was like, okay, if we fail, Petrus, you're going to have a lot of debt, but it's fine. We can work it out again. Let's start something new. So we were all the time kind of backing each other. When he needs financial help, like I'm like, okay, let's push the company to get you out of this. And then if I need money, we're like, okay, let's push this company to get me in a better position. So, and that is because for the first 3 years of Plato, this company didn't make sense on paper. Like if you look at the numbers, we were just losing money, but we believed in what we're doing, and we saw the potential of what can get done. But we were just plowing money back into the company, plowing money back.
It's because of you guys growing so fast.
Yeah, exactly.
It needs cash.
For the first, are we now through the 4th? Yeah, we are.
This is the 5th year then.
Yeah, this is now our 5th trading year, but we've been through 4 We've been through 4 financial years, and we've lost money. We've shown negative in the first 4 years. But again, it's because we just putting money back, and growing and sustaining what we've built, just keeping the wheels on. So we've got this massive bus of people now just working on the company, but we just have to keep the wheels on, keep it going, make sure there's momentum, make sure there's money, and I think we always said 3 years, then we're safe, and I'm not like, nah, I think it looks more like 5 years. Then you really get into a rhythm of, okay, we've got critical mass now. This company is in a good space. We've got outside investors now. There's people that wants to throw money towards Plato. They've seen the brand getting built. The big thing for me is, as we started the company, we lost money. So I saw with the shops making money, but we never showed a profit. And now we're kind of starting to show profit. And franchisees are doing their 2nd and 3rd shop, which is showing profit and profit and profit. So now it's very nice to kind of put it out there and say, okay, listen, now we are ready to, we've grown way too fast, but we can grow faster. We can do this faster. We can have a bigger team. Again, it's about the people we've got on board. So if we want to go to Europe, why not? The concept's working. Why don't we go to Europe and UAE and America? We can do that, but it's, again, you need a lot of money, you need bigger teams, and then you again start looking at outside investors, people that want to I don't know, grow a new coffee brand worldwide. So yeah.
But I have to say, I think from the outside looking in, of course, we don't know really what's going on. No one knows. We look successful because you're driving a new bakkie. That's just dead, you know. But from the outside looking into Plato, I mean the awareness of the brand and just the footprint of the brand. The value that you have created there in equity, in owning it, must be tremendous. I mean, if you're saying that, I mean, you weren't showing profits, but you were growing at an exceptional rate. So you're growing business equity. And of course, if you wanted to, listen, let's sell everything, pay us out, you're going to sit with a well-earned profit over the couple of years that you've been busy.
Yeah, I think so. It's been me and Stefan. We are very scruffy financially. So only now we got a financial officer on board. Now we've got 2 accountants. Now we're putting financial directors in place. Because it was stuff that we don't really understand. I'm not a CA. I don't know like how to structure stuff in a financial way. So now for the next year and 2 years, I think we're probably going to see what we actually created. We're going to think, okay, wow, we actually built something proper. But at the very beginning, we're just like, okay, we're growing money, we grow, we pay, we build. So yes, I guess so. But on paper, it's still like figuring it out, structuring new companies. We now restructured the entire thing. But we, as you said, we've built quite a lot of equity. We've put up, 59 shops. We've got a factory, we've got a building. There's a lot that we own now. So
it feels like you're being humble, but I know this is you. But I don't think you have to be. It's really impressive what you've done.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I always want to stay humble. I think that's the thing. And one of the biggest compliments I got from a friend literally a week ago, he said, the most impressive thing of Plato as a company is that it looks, obviously, we're successful, but none of your team is acting that way.
Yeah.
We're still acting like the loving, kind,
small company
vibe. And that's what I want to really try and keep across the board, even if we've got 1,000 stores. I know it's going to get corporate in that when you're that big, but trying to stay humble, trying to stay loving, trying to have a human connection. Because as soon as you lose the human connection, then it's not really worth all the money, everything in the world. I spoke to a guy that owns quite a lot of stuff, but he said he lost his brother and father, and all his friends are gone. He's like, I'm 70 years old. I would give all of this up for friends and family. So, just to never lose that perspective of what relationships are all about. Yeah,
what's really important to you. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Just back on that, like working with family, I spoke to another friend of mine who's also, there are 2 brothers with Troy Gold. They're doing an app where you can buy and sell gold. And we speak a lot about the relationships and being in business together and so on. And he said, a lot of people put a downer on it, don't go into business with family. Yeah. But it's a real big advantage, because we know if we don't settle whatever's going on, and let's say, okay, everything fails, we sell everything, we have an argument, whatever, that's not the way in which we're going to settle it. Yeah. I mean, we're still going to have a family bride next month. Yeah. So this needs to work. We need to sort it out. Yeah. And that's a massive advantage that you have when you are in business with family. That if I had a Big Pond property with other people, it would have been gone. We would have said, listen, it's not working. There's no relationship that we have to uphold. You go your way, I'll go my way, and it's done.
Yeah, let's move on.
But because of the family relations that we have in the business, it causes longevity. Our relationship is going to be here in a year. So we have to make this thing work because this is now part of our relationship. And that's a massive strength that we have. And I think people miss that when thinking about family matters and family businesses. But and it's something that we've only realized in hindsight. But I think it gives a lot of strength to a business, especially if your values empowers that.
If they align,
If your values are, listen, I want good family relations, and if you're building from that, I think it can tremendously improve relations.
I think people look at the failed companies. But they how many cultures out there are family-driven people? Like, if you look at South Africa, the success that different cultures has created, that's family-owned businesses. Portuguese. I don't know, is that the correct? How you say it?
Portuguese, Indian
families.
Yes,
the Jewish communities.
They do it really well.
They do it so well, and it's longevity. It's been our family business, and they support family in that kind of way. Like, okay, my son and the nephew wants to start a company. Okay, the two fathers gives them money. Okay, go boys, run with it. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think people look at the
negative of it.
The companies that fail and the family relationships that didn't last. Again, even if you look at marriage, and people look at the people that don't make it.
The divorce numbers or whatever.
Let's look at the successful people and say, we want to be more like them rather than the failed oaks. Let's look at the successful businesses and not the failed businesses, and try to be more like them.
Emulate that.
See what they did right, and not go and say, okay, let's just ruin a company because we had a feud about who got more shares or
just some type of ego issue.
Exactly. So ego can get in the way of a lot of things
very easily.
So no, I think all in all it's been more beneficial. We've got my close family, my brothers and sisters and my mom and dad all of them are in Plato.
That's really impressive.
Except my one sister, but our three brothers, then my sister owns a store, and my parents owns a store, and they're all successful. So that's kind of like, it's great. And then now we've created extra revenue, extra profit for
the
our families.
My
parents are now retired, but they've got a company that brings in more than.
It's like a pension fund.
It's more than a pension fund. So, and that's what it's about. Like giving families the opportunity to make more money from a side hustle, which that store of my sister's is like the 4-hour work week. I don't think she's probably there every day, but that shop to operate and run it,
the structures in place that are running
4 hours a week to make the thing work, and it doesn't make millions, but it probably pays.
There's probably nothing else that she can do for 4 hours
that makes that much money.
Yes.
So the success surrounding what we've built and what we've done for families has been massive, and we are family orientated. We look after our employees, again, not just personal family, but the people that work for us. Family around them comes first, whether it's a sick kid, go sort it out. Like, we are family-driven people. If you've got maternity leave, take your maternity leave, paid maternity leave. Let's get all of those things in place so that the families in all of Plato comes first. If a barista's mom gets sick, go home. It's like, take care of your family first. Plato will still be here if you come back. Now many baristas had to go back to Zimbabwe because there was problems. And we go back for a month or two. And they would literally cry and say, what about my job? I'm like, no, go sort out, like, your dad is sick. Go take care of him, come back. Plato will still be here. We'll still be growing. We'll find a place for you, don't worry. So no, it's been a huge positive for us. I think negative.
I think that's very evident, because if you see the character of the people and the enthusiasm that they show, I think not having a supportive company behind you, that would reflect in their attitudes when helping people. I assume that.
Yeah, we try to create such a culture that people want to work for Plato. We pay well. Our baristas doesn't work long hours. Well, they work long hours, but they work 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Or
like
4
transitioning every second day.
Yeah, we wanted to create it in such a way that if you're a barista aren't the highest paying jobs in the world. But if you work for us, you've got, how many days in a year? 365.
365, right? Yeah.
So you've got 180 days a year
of leave, paid leave.
Of paid leave that you can do whatever you like. And again, we've seen like how healthy those people are, because they every second day they can be with their families or their kid, or they don't have to pay someone to watch over their kid. They don't have to send their kid to school, because for 180 days you're at home. And as a mom and as a female barista, that is massive value add.
Yeah.
To be able to work like that.
I also don't know of another job that allows that.
No. And then you get your standard 15 days leave.
Yeah.
So on top of your half a year off of time, and we've seen now they just like low. This guy now bought a car for him because he's been working for us 3 years, getting good salary, saving up. Now he's got a car. And he's spending every second day of his boy at home. Well, wonderful life.
Yeah.
And it also opens them up. We are very busy at the factory, so there's probably 3 to 4 baristas daily that on their off days they come work at the factory, just packing beans, loading beans, packing stock, putting stuff on shelves. So it gives them now extra a couple of hundred a month, or maybe 1,000 a month more. It frees them up to do other jobs. They're not allowed to do baristas, to do another barista job in
of course,
in Gauteng. But if you want to be a waiter at a restaurant, so be it. Go make your extra 1,000, 2,000 a month, or go study. We've got so many students studying.
Yeah, the guy working at this shop here is studying law.
Yeah, studying law.
Yeah.
How amazing.
It's impressive.
How amazing to give that opportunity to people. So
yeah, and probably the job is paying for his studies.
Probably, yeah, it is. And so yeah, I always said I actually just want baristas to work for me from, let's say, 18 to 30. After 30, you should have made yourself into...
This is just your platform into the world.
Go be a barista. Yes, some people out of the barista pool will become QCs, will become managers, and that's great. But the other 100 of you, make yourself better. Yeah. And if not, if you just want to be a barista, so be it. But we give that opportunity to go, okay, you're young, you've got energy, you've got half a year to study. If you don't have the money, there is stuff. Like there is stuff to do to improve yourself. Whether it's just reading, I don't know, study up on something.
Yeah.
Whether you want to improve on coffee, come work at the factory, come do stuff, learn how the business is being operated. So, yeah, I think
that's a really impressive mindset, and it brings over a bit of confidence, because I think listen, I can easily get someone else in your position. And I want you to grow. So you get a lot of companies, they just want to hold the people down because they don't want to need to replace them.
And it's not, a barista isn't an expensive position to replace. To replace a roaster or a MD, those guys are expensive to replace. But baristas, it's a platform for them to, although we love you, if you really don't want this job, we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of CVs that people want to come
or especially if there's something better for you, please do it.
Yeah, please do it.
I mean,
we've had that. We've had baristas work for us, and they say like, a car dealership offered me a job to work as a car dealer. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Go. You're going to get way more than you get paid. Yeah. So go live your life.
Yeah.
They see you. They see your character. You're a friendly guy. We're going to lose a brilliant personality.
Yes.
But I'm like, okay, there will be new personalities. Yeah. There will be another guy we can uplift into being a barista, and that barista can become a teacher, become a salesman, a lot of them become salesmen, like companies.
Yeah, because
pull
of
them because
they're
of their-
charming
Yeah,
and
because they've got
charismatic.
We pay some baristas way too much because we just like, those are the key people we want in areas to give people that feel of how Plato is,
Of course.
to really shine. So yeah, it's been interesting, just moving them around and getting them baristas going, but it's been successful.
But I can think like also with you opening this a massive amount of stores the whole time, you could easily fall into like a scarcity mindset and think, no, I can't lose this guy. I need to move him to that one. So there's a new one coming in here, because you're a constant growth mindset.
Yeah.
So I can see easily falling into that trap. But well done for not doing that.
Yeah, luckily we don't have a high turnover. People stick because it's such a great working environment. And again, like if you come to work, you just had a day or two off, so you're gonna be happy.
Yeah, refreshed.
You're gonna be friendly. So that's the nice thing. People want to now work for Plato because we try and just make their lives better. We're really not. Again, I've said it many times, but we want to make money, but we want to empower people.
Of course.
We want to improve families. We want to make sure there's 300 baristas that can have a great life. So yeah, we focus on that.
How many baristas are you employing at the moment?
I'm not 100% sure across the board, but it should be roughly, anything between, I think roughly 250, I think is on board.
That is insane.
That's outside managers and obviously
Of course, yeah.
cafe owners. So if you look at the cafe owners, it's probably another 50 people. We've got a management group of around 15 or 20. No, it's become a full-time workhorse.
Yeah, and people don't think about all the hidden metrics and the hidden jobs. I mean, every barista needs clothes, branded clothes, branded caps. They have their specific things that are just combined to have them work there. And that's a whole nother job just to get those things sorted.
Yeah, so now we can. That was one of the thing that kind of caught us. We opened so many stores and our shirts ran out. I'm like, oh flip.
Yeah.
It's like 8 shirts there, 10 shirts here, 20 shirts here, and then you're out of shirts.
Yeah, the pile dropped.
It's just gone. Even now with our jackets this winter season, was a mess. Because it's so much money out of your cash flow to get it.
Yeah.
Yes, you invoice it out again.
Yeah, of course.
But to buy beanies, caps, jerseys, jackets, just to stock it before you actually send it. It's so much money.
And it's such a small part of the business.
Yeah.
But it becomes a big part when it's needed.
A big part, yeah. And hopefully, and we're not 100% there yet, but we can, off of that, build a retail range. We've got a jersey and a couple of T-shirts. But again, we're not moving them so fast that you can hold 500,000 rand of stock.
Of course, yeah.
We just don't have that money yet.
Yeah, not to put in shirts.
Not to put in shirts.
Yeah.
So a lot of people ask us, why aren't you doing tumblers and why aren't you doing shirts and hats? I'm like, to do all of that costs, fortunately, millions.
Yeah.
Because now we do a tumbler and it's we really try and keep everything we do premium. So it's a very fancy tumbler. But if we now want to stock all the cafes with that tumbler and have an online presence,
yes,
it's literally like 1 million. 1 million in tumblers. Just to have tumblers.
It's crazy.
So we will get there. But the cafes are growing at such a rate that we can't stock everyone with caps and beanies and flasks. Because you also can't, most of those products, you buy in and then sell. But then, so now the franchise or the Plato store has bought your stock from you. But now you have to buy the same amount of stock again because they're going to sell it.
Yeah, it just keeps rolling.
So anything you start and say, okay, we're going to launch this, whatever it costs to stock all your cafes, that's exactly the same amount that you have to keep in stock on the warehouse.
Yes.
So if you buy 1 million rand worth of flasks, you need to keep another 1 million
to restock.
And probably another 1 million coming in from overseas.
In orders, yeah.
So people don't realize the amount of cash flow to to start a retail company. That's
or just to add something small,
just
a sideline.
We added matcha now. The amount of money that cost us
Yes.
to get in all the cafes, I'm like, why did we do this? But it's everyone wants matcha now, and we're doing matcha. So yeah, it's a tricky side from the back end. There's so much going on. The warehousing, the roasting, the packing, the distributing. We've got a van now. We using partners for delivery outside of Gauteng, but in South Gauteng we deliver ourselves. So yeah, there's a lot going on back on the back end.
It seems really hectic. I want to ask you 2 more questions. Firstly, Plato. How did you come up with that name?
I actually can't remember, but Stefan did come up with him.
Does it have some significance in meaning, or?
Well, when we got the name, we said, okay, Plato is cool, and we said, okay, why Plato? Why does Plato work? Because the initial business idea that was proposed was, we want to be in universities and we want to be in business parks, because we saw students and working people drink a lot of coffee. So if you can have coffee in those 2 areas and schools, then you can do well. And then we said, okay, Plato ties in well with the whole university thing. You know, they created the first university. So you've got all these great lines to play with, all these quotes.
Yes.
Most people in South Africa don't know Plato, because they still say Plato or Plato, or especially the Afrikaans culture.
Yeah.
But hopefully in time everyone will realize, okay, Plato was a philosopher. That's why the face. I've had people, when I had a beard, they're like, are you the face? I'm like, no, I'm not the face. It's the philosopher Plato. So that tied in very well. And then you've got just so much history in Greece. You've got design aspects, and you've got colors, and you've got
bring into your designs.
And it's to use that old school something. It's very neutral. So if you've got a company name that's neutral, and we also said we never wanted to be, and sorry for the companies that's out there that's done this, but we personally said we didn't want a company name that is coffee related. So we looked at, again, the biggest company, Starbucks. Starbucks doesn't have anything to do with coffee. Seattle, it's not coffee. Blank Street, it's not coffee. So we said we wanted a name that sits alone. So now that's Plato. It doesn't say Plato Coffee. It's a standalone name. We can do whatever you want with that. We can do merch. We can do water. We can do watches.
It opens up some doors.
Yeah. So if you call yourself Bean Cafe or Coffee Juice or whatever you want to call yourself,
you're stuck.
It really restricts you to your one avenue.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened to a lot of coffee oaks that has got a massive passion for coffee. They call their company a coffee something.
Yes.
And then you're kind of stuck with that. You don't really, and people then always thinks back to your coffee company. We now, most of our branding isn't Plato Coffee anymore. It would just say Plato, to get that idea out of, if you see in 10 years time a Plato glasses, you're like, oh, this is cool glasses, Plato. It's not, you
just
Plato.
connect it to the value aspect or the design aesthetic, the look and feel of it.
The look and feel, and kind of creates, and again, very neutral. It's so neutral. It's such an old name. You can't go and politicize this, or
that's true.
You can't. It's just a name, a very old name,
out
of a very rich history area.
Yes,
and you can do so much of that. So that's how the name. Eventually, we stuck to it, and it's been good.
Yeah, we did Big Pond Property, and a lot of the time we get mistaken for building swimming pools or ponds, and it has been a question, and I tell people it's actually the metaphor, because I come from a small town, Secunda, and we had the option. We could have probably started a construction company there and do quite well, but we decided we'll rather be the small fish in the big pond. And that was how we generated that. But it causes some explanation some of the times.
Are you guys building ponds? No, but yes. Say
We can.
yes to everything.
We can build it as well.
We can build it, yeah. That's cool.
I want to ask you as well on the growth of the company. When you started that first one in Irene, how did your 5-year plan look back then? Did you see 100 stores in 5 years? Or?
No, never. We said it's such a naive thing that we kind of thought about. We said we wanted to have 100 stores that can create 10,000 profit a month. And that was our idea. Like, if every shop can create us 10,000 rand profit, because coffee isn't high profits. It's not. You need to do a lot of volume for small profits. And if you've got a great turnover, yes, then you're making money. But then stacking them up, doing 100 shops with a 10,000 rand profit, then obviously you're showing quite a lot per month. So that was our end goal. We're like, okay, we're going to operate 100 stores, but in 10 years time, we're going to grow this thing organically. And then we saw, okay, flip, a coffee shop, if ran properly, because we just looked at smaller cafes turnovers and said, okay, if a shop turns X amount, it can make 10,000 rand. We're like, okay, that's good. But then our coffee started really selling well and doing very well. And then all of a sudden we said, okay, we can maybe make 20,000 rand out of a cafe, or 30, and in extreme cases even more. So then we realized, okay, this can be a bigger company. And then we started going, okay, where can we make more money? Where can we slot in something new? Then as soon as we got into a point where we can almost start a roastery, almost cover the salary, covering the loan on a roaster, paying for rent, we look at that number and we said, okay, our Plato can carry this for a bit, and then in 3 or 4 months time the roastery will be able to cover their own expenses. That's exactly what we did. We said, okay, Plato is now roasting X amount of coffee. With that money, if we do it ourselves, we can pay a salary, a roaster, a lease, or rent a place. And that's what we did. We said, okay, let's start that and start growing just the coffee side. And then we said, okay, what can we do now next? So we constantly have been working towards a goal, but then we see new opportunities. And that's, I think, the golden thing about what we've done is going, okay, but not just this is our strict game plan, this is our business plan, we're going to follow it. I think in some times it's been great, and in some other times it's been like, yeah, we shouldn't make rash changes like this. Because we are free-headed, we do want to test. It's like, okay, something new. Let's go. Let's test it. Because we've tested and failed, but then sometimes tested and made a great success about it. So those kind of leniency between me and Stefan has always been great, because we go, okay, water brand, let's do it. When? Next month. And if it's going to work, we don't know. If it's going to fail, also don't know. We don't know if the water thing we want to try is going to work, but it's a opportunity we see, and we're going to try it. And most people don't see all this stuff we've tried and failed with, and it cost us millions of rands. But we've done small things here and small things there that we kind of say, let's test this out. Like a mall. We at the beginning said no to malls. We don't want to be in malls. We don't want to follow the big brand thing. We don't want to spend 30,000-40,000 in rent. In 2021, there came an opportunity, or was it 2020? I can't remember. Came an opportunity for a mall, great development. We got sold on this great idea. We said, okay, let's test it. Lost 2 million rand. Nobody sees that. People just see how they opened, how they closed. So they don't think about the money it cost us. And then we go, okay, let's test this equipment. Then an epic fail. Great piece, but it just didn't work for us. Lose a lot of money. So we've tried a bunch of stuff that didn't work, and then obviously we've tried a bunch of stuff that has worked. I think if you don't constantly evolve to, and again, going back to your question, which was, did we think we'll be able to do this? I never have said yes. But as we grow, we just see new opportunities, new things we can do. And again, going back to the copying thing. If you want to copy us, yes, but you're going to have to flip and develop and change and think about new ideas all the time to keep up with the industry.
I can think it's quite frustrating for someone who wants to copy you, and they see you jumping around trying this thing. And say, what the hell? What must we do next? We don't know.
And we are actually far behind Japan and America. So we are like, oh, this is new. But then you also have to look at localized and what's the current palette of people. What do they want? So although new technologies are out in Japan and China and Europe and America, South Africa's not ready for that yet.
Yeah, like automized everything.
Drinking only specialty coffees, drinking black coffees, paying 80 Rand for a coffee. We're not there yet. Although I think we're close to it. We're probably in the next 5 to 10 years. But not yet. So we also feel like, it would be so nice to do a pour over bar. It's like you've got 5 single origin, well processed, amazing coffees, and you can ask 80 to 150 Rand a cup, because that is what those coffees are. Those coffees is like 1,500 Rand a kilogram. But we feel like not there yet. We are going to taste it in one of our cafes. We're going to do some single origins and just see what does people really, is there maybe a market for this? Can we slowly
create a market, maybe?
Yeah, maybe create a market. Because our coffee was very different to what was out there. It was more dark roasted. And then people, the first time they drank this, like, this tastes a bit weak. But wow, it's amazing. So then people started, okay, it's not really weak, it's just a different flavor. So a bit lighter roasted, you've got more different flavors. We don't really punch the coffee flavor. We don't go, we want to taste like coffee. The old school Nescafe, your coffees, that is Robusta coffee, heavy coffee, very Brazil coffee. And the big brands, they still do that punchy coffee flavor. So that's like in our minds about that's how coffee should taste. But we brought something else that says coffee doesn't have to be boring. You can have this chocolatey note and this funky caramel note and maybe some biscuit and maybe some nutty flavor. You can have all these flavors in one coffee. And normally people will say like, this doesn't taste coffee, but wow, can coffee taste like this? To do the single origins and go, you serve something to a person, they go like, this doesn't taste like coffee, but it tastes like oranges and strawberries, and what is this? How can you get this out of coffee? And even with the milk stuff, you can give something to someone and they go like, we drank coffee. It was one of our guys' barista competition coffee, and you drink that thing and it tastes like chuckles, but not a little bit like chuckles. You sipping chuckles in a coffee format. It is incredible what you can actually achieve with coffee. But South Africa's not there yet to really go and, you pay 150 Rand for a cappuccino and it tastes like chuckles.
Yeah.
We're not there. So you have to create specialty bars maybe where people can go and say, okay, this is a coffee experience. And only selected amount of people will actually go there, which is fun. And then slowly... Then all of a sudden, maybe in 3 years' time or 4 years, or maybe 2 years' time, people go in a queue for a incredible pour over.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, we have to roll this out in Platos. Let's put a pour over in every Plato, because now people want this product. So it's just kind of navigating the market.
I can definitely see that happening because people follow the trends. I listened to the biography of the creator of Rolex, and when he started Rolex, the company, there were no wrist watches for men.
Only pocket.
It was only pocket watches. Yeah. So he created a market for this, and it was seen as very feminine for a man to wear a wristwatch. So they created the product and then created a need for that product as well by giving it to athletes and everyone doing like swimming competitions and but they created a market for it. And I think that's something that people are doing very well. And I think that you have the potential in doing that, showing people that what they actually want. They don't know what they want.
No, it's like all the big products, Apple, and they kind of brought a need to people. And luckily, in one way, we are behind Australia and we are behind these big coffee countries. So we see where we are moving towards. We can see what is the future of coffee drinkers.
Yes, because they went through the same processes.
They went through the same process just 10 years ago.
Yes.
Or 5 years ago. Where, again, you have to look at like America, very sweet tooth, big drinks. So they've got their specialty culture, but it's also America. You've got millions of people. What is it, 250 million people?
Yeah.
So even if you've got a very niche product, there will be enough people.
Yeah, even a small percentage of them will still be enough.
Yeah, will still
as
be
a
enough
business.
to sustain a business. Where the smaller countries, you can really go and have a look at and see, okay, what is the trend of coffee? What is the palate of people? Also, our country is very split between cultures. So some cultures drank coffee 20 years ago, and some cultures only now starting to drink coffee. Some cultures are more tea orientated. And so we've got, well, not 20, how many languages do we have? But we've got so many cultures in South Africa.
Yeah.
Not just black and white. We've got Zulu and Tswana.
Yeah.
All those.
Very intricate bunch of them, and very different.
All of them very different. You've got a massive Indian market. You've got a massive white market. Like, you've got all these markets of people, and their palates are also different. They also want different stuff. So we can kind of see how the country is going towards something and just try and hit that market. We also almost want to be first when that comes.
Yeah.
And when someone is ready for a coffee, okay, we're there. When someone is ready for pour overs, we're there. When someone just wants freezers, we're there. So it is the coffee market, and well, drinks by itself is moving so fast. Even if you look at like Prime. It's a company that just come poof, there they are. And in South Africa,
but they also develop so fast. Like they do an interview with Trump, then they release a new brand with the Trump interview. Then they do something. They did a KFC one where the drink, it tastes exactly like the chicken, and they actually did it for a joke because they sample it and they say it's horrible because you can't imagine drinking this. But it's just like it's a marketing scheme.
So the drink scene by itself, whether it's water, coffee, any drink, it's moving with the speed of light. Because it almost feels like everyone's now got the technology, there's enough manufacturers to do anything. You can go probably out there in a month, you can create a drink brand. Yeah. Call it whatever you want in a can, start selling it. It's whether you time it right and whether you market it right.
Also, the competition is fierce.
The competition is fierce, but same with coffee. The competition is fierce.
Yeah.
The coffee industry is probably the easiest industry to get a foot in. You can go buy a coffee machine, a grinder, rent a little place, put it on a table. There you go. You're making coffee
shop. Yeah.
But to stay in this industry is difficult. You have to evolve. You have to improve. You have to be better. You have to grow. You have your back end, like everything, point of sale, music. All of that you have to improve all the time. So it's very challenging. But again, like, because our personalities are, we want to change all the time. I don't want to be a boring business person. So it's almost like where we are in, the business we are in, we enjoy it so much because we like change, and it's changing all the time. So yeah.
What would you say to people who say that coffee is a bubble? And it's a bubble that's going to burst. It's like reached this high point and it's passing over.
I would say it's been a bubble for 100 years. Like, I haven't gone without a cup of coffee in the last 4 years. Well, maybe even more, since I've been young. Like, since you...
That's how you start the day.
School. So what happened with coffee is, when I was in school, high school, coffee was only for old people. Okay, and then we went to university. You're 19, 20 years old. You're like, okay, now coffee is good. Coffee keeps me awake. Oh wow, there's actually good coffee, because we were used to read coffee in it was horrible on camps and
Fresco.
Stuff. And then you're like, whoa. They call it actually your God cup. So where people realize coffee is amazing. I still remember my cup where I sipped in and I thought, how can coffee be this good? Because I was from Rustenburg, there's no good coffee shops. Came to Pretoria. One night I had a coffee and I thought, this is next level. Coffee can be amazing. I think it was roughly 2013-ish. And the the way that coffee is shifting, it's just, I can't imagine it being a bubble. There's so many people still that's not drinking coffee. And the age has shifted from 21 years old to 14 years old.
Yeah.
So now you've got a way bigger market, and now we have to fill that market. I can 100% tell you that it's not just we that are growing and doing better. It's all the big brands. Everyone that's growing are doing better. Not because it's going to burst, because the base of coffee drinkers is getting so big. And it's just more and more people, more and more cultures. Everyone's starting to kind of tap into this is now only moving in South Africa into the second or third wave of coffee. And now there's a fourth wave of the speciality stuff. So coffee is improving. Now what we thought was great in 2012 is now your standard. So now there's the next level of great, which is speciality. And then maybe in 10 years' time, that's going to be your standard coffee. And then there's probably going to be new stuff. Because people are constantly coming up with new ways to process coffee, new ways to grow coffee. Coffee is still grown mostly in very poor areas. You've got your massive estates, and they are doing very well. But a lot of different... If you go to Tanzania, there's some estates, but most coffee is just grown on land by someone, and they take it into a company and they buy everything up and they packet it and send it out
It's
again.
probably like the tobacco trade like 50 years back.
Yeah, exactly. So the coffee scene, I think there's so much potential still for proper estates, proper farms to actually be established and to uplift, especially Africa. Your coffee section, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, all those areas that you can really still, Uganda. If people go in there and establish farms, start uplifting the communities, there's so much more to do. So I don't think coffee will run out.
I don't think so either, but I've heard that argument a lot of the time when speaking to business people about the business case.
Yes.
Because I've spoken to a lot of franchise owners of Plato, and they're doing really well, but the critics will very easily say, it's just a bubble, it's a fad.
I think the coffee has gone through these kind of waves. So roughly 10 years ago, there was a big spike in coffee shops. And then everyone that is not doing extremely well, they close down after 5 or 6 years. And then again, now we're in that massive climb. So everyone's opening coffee shops.
Yeah.
Anyone, left and right, coffee shops. But in 5 years' time, there's going to be a dip again. Because it's just, everyone is not making it. Everyone is not making money. So the big brands, everyone that pulled through that dip again, will be able to go again.
Yes.
So I think it's relative to any industry.
Yes.
Construction industry.
It's exactly
there's
the
like
same.
A massive boom. Now everyone's developing. And then in 5 years' time, there's going to be a bunch of guys that loses money, unfortunately.
Yeah. Just past COVID, the interest rate was low, so everyone could get a bond.
Yeah.
So they think, because I can get a bond, because I can buy that house, that means I can flip the house. And that is, unfortunately, is not true.
The truth, yeah.
But what happened then is, how it affected us is a lot of properties were bought by the wrong people, paying the wrong price, and that affected the whole market.
Yes.
Now everyone thinks they screwed up properties worth more, and so it's just a tough learning lesson for the buyers and for us as well in business.
Yes.
Something that you have to compensate for.
And then so Brazil kind of drives the coffee market, like the actual forex traded market. So if now they predict, just by predicting there's gonna be a cold front, the coffee price went up by 5%. So Brazil really has got the driving seat, but again, the work that's being done in coffee is so much. Coffee is now being grown in South Africa. It's not great, but it's being grown. So now South Africa will probably be able to learn how can we, what variant can we use, how should we plant it, how can we process this coffee so that it's good. Tanin, for instance, it's actually a great environment to grow coffee in. So for farms there to realize, coffee actually is a great thing to grow under trees. So now you've got your avid trees. What do? Just plant coffee trees.
All the nut trees that they have put up there. Is coffee beans actually a nut?
No, it's a bean.
A bean, yeah.
So it's got like it's a cherry, and as soon as the pulp comes off, it's two. So if you look at a coffee bean, it's
two
one
lobes,
flat-sided. So it's basically two beans. So if you throw that into the garden, it will probably start growing.
Is it something that you have considered about, like, growing coffee?
Not in South Africa, no. But so we now again moving back into the chain, and now we starting to import containers. So at the beginning we were just buying local. So now we're linking up with local guys to bring us containers, and then maybe in 3 years' time we start bringing in our own containers. And then in 10 years' time we've built contacts, and there's a farm for sale in Tanzania, and we go, this is a good idea, let's buy a farm in Tanzania. But
and probably skipping the learning curve that South Africans would go through.
Yes, because it's just going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And our coffee comes from multiple regions, so you can't really, it will take a lot of years to build up. If you really want to say, okay, I want to do Plato, I want to do the factory, I want to do the importing, and I want to do the farming, I'd probably then eventually go, okay, let's just go do the farming. We sell off Plato, the factory, the importing, and we just supply to them, agreement. Because it's such a big operation.
Yeah, it's again a whole new business.
Yeah, then you have to go, okay, we're getting in from Tanzania, we're getting in from Nicaragua, we're getting in from Brazil. Are we going to own a farm in every country?
Makes sense not to,
You know, even Starbucks, they just have agreements with coffee farms. They don't farm themselves. They just buy all the Brazil, basically. So yeah, there's a certain point that would I love to own a coffee farm? Yes. Would we do it? Probably no. We'll probably visit it a bunch of times, build relationships.
And that's probably good enough. You can get the good out of it by just doing that.
Yes, I think it's a very certain amount of people that really has got the passion to move to a Nicaragua or a Uganda, start a coffee farm, build up a coffee farm. So it's never a no.
It sounds very idyllic, but it's probably...
It does. You're sitting there on your coffee farm.
Yeah.
It's not just pretty. You're working with rough environments in bad economic countries.
Yeah.
So shipments are bad and thefts are bad. So it's very idyllic to do that. But anyone wants a farm. Everyone wants a farm.
Of course.
We'll be lekker.
Of course.
But realistically, I think we'll stick to what we're doing now, growing Plato first, the factory and warehouse second, and then expanding, hopefully, internationally, Mauritius, Europe, UAE, wherever the opportunity comes.
I definitely see you guys going there, and I think there's a lot of potential. This is my final question. What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs looking to enter into business? I mean, you've been through the ringer of difficulties in business, growing a brand, starting a brand. What advice would you give to a young entrepreneur?
Go look at a lot of podcasts like these. I think there's a lot. Go read up on business books, because although you actually learn in practice, you can take so much. There's so much knowledge out there from business people that started businesses, that lost businesses. Books. I thought like, yeah, business isn't that difficult. I don't have to study business to do business. Although we pulled through, if I studied up a bit more, like listened a bit more, read a bit more, I would have probably picked up a lot of tips, because business is business, whether it's coffee.
It repeats between the segments.
Whether you're in coffee, whether you're an accountant, whether you want to start an architecture firm, like the principles of business is the same in all businesses. You have to be able to not get pulled in being the operator. Like in a lot of any business book you'll read about, beware of becoming the operator. Make sure you're the grower. Don't get stuck in operations.
Because you can also not employ someone to grow.
No, you
That's
can't.
the problem.
Because you have to grow. So if you read 5 or 10 business books, which I've done, you start picking up, these are the important points. Like, don't be the operator. Make sure your bookings are, like, your accounting stuff is in order from day one. Your pay, like, all those things, you're like, now I'll pay them myself. Then you realize, okay, now I have to do this and contracts. And so again, like, the base of business is the same. And to put yourself in a position to go like, okay, I've picked up most books or podcasts or something has got a golden nugget where you go, ding, wow, that is interesting.
Just one idea from it.
One idea.
Yeah.
And if you study up and if you read enough and if you listen to enough business people, you'll pick up quite a lot of those golden nuggets where you can go into practice and go like, okay, they said cash flow is important. And one of the biggest lessons I learned from a business guy and a very good friend of mine, I worked for him, and he said, Petrus, you're going to start a company and you're going to struggle with cash flow. And it's going to be 10 rands. It's going to be 10. And then you're going to start working in hundreds and then thousands. Then eventually you're going to work in 100,000s. And if you're successful, you're going to work in millions. And then 10 millions, 100 millions, billions. Cash flow is going to stay a problem. And I've seen that. I worked with 10 rands and I'm like, where's the money? And then I've worked with thousands and then 100,000 and now we're working with millions.
You always just short 10.
We always just short a couple of rand every month. It feels that way. And again, just listening to these guys and go, okay, what have I picked up? Even if someone picked up just this, cash flow. Make sure your cash is in order. Make sure you can run your company when there's bad sales month. Make sure you've saved up. Make sure you've situated, put people in the right place. I think I've said quite a bit in this interview that kind of people can pick up on, what we've done, not just a lesson, but to really find those golden nuggets of basic business principles and make sure you stick to it. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't think you know everything. I will probably learn about business until the day I die, because every time I'm like, I've learned something new. I speak to you, I learn something new. I speak to a big company franchisor and I'm like, wow, that is interesting. So beyond the constant learn is
I think that also comes back to like being humble and being teachable.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you can't teach me anything.
Yeah, we see that with a lot of older companies that we kind of, I don't want to say catching them, but we are getting more attention towards our brand because we change. We've changed, we are changing constantly. Where they are still stuck in 2000. Like, no, coffee should taste like it tastes in Italy, because that's where coffee comes from. No, the people's palate has changed. So don't get stuck in your old ways. I'm going to be 40 in 10 years' time, and then I shouldn't still be doing what I did when I was 30. And then I'm going to be 50 and 60. And if I am still doing what I'm doing today, Plato is just going to be it's going to be behind. Yeah. If we stick to Plato. But if we're constantly changing and following what everyone's doing, I think it's very difficult for all the brands. Those oaks are now 50, 60 years old. They didn't go through this dramatic technology phase where we kind of got used to change. We're like, okay, next year there's a thing that can measure your heart rate, and then there's this email, and then there's this product, and we kind of we love change. Yeah. If we don't change, we
expect change. Like, we know every year there's a new iPhone coming, and it's going to be different, and we want it.
Probably the first time something changed, they're like, "No, we've been doing this for 20 years. It's okay.
We'll stick to the way we did it."
And then 10 years goes past, and they're still stuck to the thing that's now 40 years old.
And then they become irrelevant.
So there's a lot of, you can look at so many examples: BlackBerry, Nokia.
Yeah, they fell out of the bus.
I don't want to say restaurant brands in South Africa, but they're just they're just falling behind because they didn't change when change came. Yeah. So I think that's also
and it creates a gap, right?
Yeah.
Like restaurants, Henny's came in.
Yeah.
Changed the whole restaurant scene.
They just said, I'm going to be better than the guy that's 20 years old.
Yeah. So and they literally took their place.
Yeah. Yeah.
They literally just slotted in.
if you don't want to be replaced, change.
Yeah, keep up with the bouncing ball.
Yeah.
Petrus, this was excellent, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
And
thank
I wish you all the best with your business. Everything that's happening, you guys are insanely busy.
yeah.
And I think you are an excellent example to young entrepreneurs, man.
Thanks.
And we'll be following. And where can people find Plato's on every corner, basically.
Yeah, Plato. Well, on social media, we're also pushing it quite hard.
I see you're doing quite well on social media.
Yeah, I think that's one of our also things that we saw, that young people interact. So how do you get them involved in coffee?
They want to take a selfie.
Get them involved in social media. So now you've got a massive social media following. So yeah, we're just at plato.coffee on social medias. We just launched our roastery Instagram page. We just at our first post, literally.
It's blank.
Blank coffee supplies. So now we're starting to grow that company as a separate entity. So yeah, let's go follow our journey. We're taking over quite a lot. We're starting a restaurant. We're starting a water brand. So if you see water in Plato, it's probably us.
Where's the restaurant going to be?
In Linwood.
In Linwood.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Smack dead.
Is it going to be a Plato restaurant?
No, it's a different company name, different setup, different menu. So we're also trying something new, but it's coming up. I won't say the name yet because we want to keep it a bit.
Yeah, keep it exciting.
Have a launch. Then, as I said, we probably will post everything on Plato and grow the brand from there. We've got so many lekker projects coming up. Yeah, the water is very, very exciting for us. Restaurants exciting. All of those things we can kind of build on. Again, some of them might fail. We don't know.
Yes.
But I think we've learned enough so that we can go, okay, let's do something new. We've got now financial guys saying, no, you can't do this. Yes, you can do this. So those clever minds behind the brand now, that's really important for us. They really structure the company well, that we can dream, pitch ideas, and they can say, okay, no, not here, yes, here.
Just a bit of sound advice.
Very, very good sound advice. So yeah, it's fun.
We're excited with you guys with the journey ahead.
Thanks.
And yes, man, keep pushing. You're a massive inspiration to young entrepreneurs.
Thanks to you, and thanks for having a coffee shop.
Yeah, we enjoy it. Our tenants love it.
Yeah, that's great.
I think we're carrying a bit of the probably 20% of the shop only in tenants. Thanks a lot. Do it again.